Hello and welcome to this introduction to Aculab Cloud. What I intend to do during this presentation is give you a fairly high-level introduction to cloud-based telephony and share with you some of Aculab's thoughts and plans in this area. I'm not going to go into too much technical detail, but I do hope to give you some food for thought. And I'm going to start by talking about cloud computing in general, and then about cloud telephony more specifically, before introducing Aculab's ideas for the future. So I'd like to begin by asking, what is cloud computing? I think by looking at the basics of cloud computing is going to help you understand the essentials of cloud telephony and the benefits that it can bring. So I've listed a few questions here. Firstly, is it data storage? Well, data storage is certainly a hotspot for cloud computing, but it offers much more than that. Cloud computing is about processing power available via the internet, which can be applied in a number of ways, and data storage is just one example of this. In terms of computer virtualization, it certainly is the key enabler for cloud computing, and it allows for more efficient use of capacity. But again, there are many more benefits to adopting a cloud computing model over and above shared servers. A common question is whether it's just another word for hosted, and the term cloud is often used to describe what is essentially a hosted service, but they are two very different things. Whilst to the end user a hosted service and cloud service might feel the same, the underlying architecture is very different, one being far less flexible than the other. And we'll touch upon this in a bit more detail later. Lastly, is it just another word for the internet? Cloud computing certainly does involve an end user or organisation accessing computer resources via the internet, that's certainly true. But the cloud computing concept extends way beyond this, way beyond access. So what is cloud computing then? Well, essentially the resources you wish to access are located somewhere other than your PC, home or premises, and you as the user have no idea and do not necessarily care where those resources are. And this brings a number of advantages. The whole idea of using resources in the cloud means that things like software applications, processing power and data storage can be used or consumed without having to make the investment in procurement, installation or configuration and the ongoing management and maintenance of technology. What this of course means to you is that you pay for what you need when you need it. Someone else does all these things for you in the cloud, accessible by the internet. To try and understand what a cloud is, a good way to look at it is to think of it as three separate layers. Each of these layers represents a service level, representing the role of the hardware and software that you've installed at your premises. The basis of any cloud offering is infrastructure as a service, i.e. the physical infrastructure. And this includes servers, networks, data storage, processors. Some good examples would be Amazon EC2 and rack space, and the essential benefits are that it's infrastructure owned and managed by someone else. The second level is the platform as a service, and here this could be a server system or some form of interpreted language that enables specific applications to be written and deployed. Good example would be Google Voice or Aculab Cloud. And again, technology is owned and managed by someone else, which means expenditure becomes an operational expense, not an upfront lump sum investment. And then finally we have software as a service. You've probably used these examples yourself, and you've accessed them via your web browser. It'd be things like Hotmail and Google Apps, etc. And as before, you're not having to invest in the software yourself, it's owned and managed by someone else. You just get to use it. So now let's take a look at cloud types. Services can be deployed in three different types of cloud. As you can see here, private, public or hybrid. Which one's the best option really is going to depend on your priorities. Perhaps your customers are risk averse, or you've got a focus on cost reduction. So let's take a look at each cloud type. With a private cloud, you purchase sole use of a dedicated physical server or servers. You nominate how many you need in advance, and these are then provisioned and set aside for you and your needs. The main plus points of this is that they are shared overheads, they're ring-fence servers, you could go and visit them if you wanted to. But the downside is that it's pretty inflexible. So you're likely to be paying for unused resources. You're always going to have to be provisioning for peaks. The opposite end is the public cloud. You get to purchase capacity of virtual servers on a usage basis. So you share server resource and use and pay for what you need when you need it. The positives are that you are sharing overheads and that you get to purchase capacity only when you need it, so on demand. The drawbacks are that you don't necessarily have control of these resources. You don't know where they're located necessarily, or even what application might be shared with them, although there are ways to work around this. Finally, we come to the hybrid cloud. Here you can purchase the use of a mixture of dedicated physical servers for applications, data that perhaps require a high level of security, and virtual servers for lower risk activity or usage peaks. This means that you can tailor the mix of dedicated and virtual servers to suit your capacity and security requirements, although it may still result in unused but paid for resource. So what does cloud computing bring to the world of telephony? Up until recently, all telephony solutions were built on two primary technologies: telephony hardware, things like voice boards, trunk cards, SS7 cards, etc., and telephony software, where we're talking about host media processing and SIP stacks, etc. Typically, using C-based APIs, such technologies have enabled a vast range of telephony systems, from small premise-based IVRs and auto attendants to PBXs, large contact centres and emergency services. When it came to deploying the technology, there were essentially two choices. It was installed on premise or installed in a data center, which could be customer-based or the solution providers offering the solution as a hosted service. So where does cloud telephony fit? I think the first point to make is that telecoms is by no means new to the cloud. Telecoms has always been a cloud-based service, in as much as telecom providers' network is a cloud. In fact, the cloud icon that we are so familiar with actually was invented to represent telecoms networks. The telecoms industry has always been about connecting our calls, holding our data on infrastructure that is owned and managed by them. So in short, cloud computing and telecoms are a very good match, and as stated earlier, telecoms is probably the first and best example of cloud computing. So now let's look at what is meant by cloud telephony. If you Google cloud telephony, your search is likely to return several million listings for a whole range of products and services, but only some of these will actually be what I would call true cloud-based offerings. The diagram shown here details 6 key benefits or points of definition for a cloud service, whether it's an IVR, a contact center platform, PBX, or indeed a platform as a service. So it should certainly offer a self-service element. You should be able to access the telephony service you want from where you want, at any time you want, via the internet. You should be able to benefit from economies of scale and the availability of on-demand resources to enable you to reduce costs and pass these savings on to your customers, should you wish to, via pay-as-you-go or pay-for-what-you-use deals. There should be the ability to scale seamlessly to cater for peak call volumes, business growth, or the use of resource-intensive features like conferencing, speech recognition, or high-density codecs. There should be the ability to share computer resources through virtualization to help reduce costs. Freedom from being tied to proprietary software, telephony hardware, or installed software. And also, finally, offer the ability to tailor telephony applications to suit a particular customer's requirements. So hopefully you have a better feel for what a cloud telephony service is. I think it would also be worth taking a quick look into what's inside a telephony cloud as well. So using the cloud anatomy diagram I talked through earlier, let's have a brief look inside the telephony cloud. As you can see here, in terms of the infrastructure as a service, what we're talking about here really is next generation service providers providing PSTN and IP connectivity and points of presence. In terms of the platform, a telephony service creation environment, e.g. Aculab Cloud, which offers telephony resources in the cloud and high-level APIs. And then finally, you have software as a service, which really means a wide range of different telephony applications, which could be contact centres, PBXs, conferences, you name it. I'd now like to home in on a cloud telephony PaaS and how it can be deployed. There are a couple of architectures to consider. So as mentioned previously, calls have been switched in the cloud for over 100 years. But with a cloud telephony PaaS, you're using telephony resources within the cloud, such as playback of messages, recording, DTMF tone detection, conferencing, etc. Building block features that can enable an application to make, receive and interact with calls in all manner of ways. So you then have the option of running the application on-premise or within your data center with the customer data residing at a location of their choice. Alternatively, you can place your application in the cloud on Amazon or Rackspace, for example, connecting to data that may also be stored in the cloud. Which you choose is really going to be down to your end user. So where does cloud telephony fit alongside other telephony technology options? The answer can be viewed as an alternative or even a complementary to traditional technology, offering greater choice in the deployment and management of telephony solutions. It can be premise, cloud or a combination. So what's available from Aculab? Aculab has been a vendor of hardware and software for telecommunications, signalling and media processing for some time. We manufacture cards or boards which are built into customer premise-based or hosted systems that enable connectivity to various types of fixed line or IP telephony networks. They also provide the processing resources and algorithms needed to make IVR systems, call center systems, voicemail systems, etc. Allows them to work. We've seen and are still undergoing a gradual migration from hardware to software, and it seems to be a natural progression for us to provide our products on a cloud platform. So the Aculab Cloud provides a number of the telephony resources available with Aculab's cards and software, but now via a cloud-based platform. What we have here is a very top-level architectural diagram for Aculab Cloud. Aculab Cloud is the central point. It presents telephony resources to your application and connectivity to the PSTN or IP networks. But I'd like to pull out just 4 key benefits. As mentioned, Aculab Cloud provides inbound and outbound connectivity to the PSTN. We have made these arrangements so that you don't have to. When you're ready to launch your service, you can simply pay per minute for what you use. You don't have to buy any specialist hardware or software, and you can enroll today for free and get up and running with a developer account and begin development and testing. So the main points to take away in relation to cloud computing, I guess a point to stress is that you can take advantage of cloud computing in a number of ways. The different services available, different cloud types, they're all there to suit a range of migration strategies and business types. And I guess also it's important to stress that it's well suited to telecoms. After all, the PSTN is a cloud service and has been since it was first sort of created. With regards to cloud telephony, this is certainly a growth area in cloud computing, and it brings flexibility, cost savings, and scalability to solutions addressing telephony needs. It's an innovative way to bring new communication solutions basically to enterprises. And then finally, with regards to Aculab Cloud, what we are bringing to you is a new deployment choice. It's bringing tried and tested, mature telephony resources to a new platform, that being in the cloud. And together we're confident that we can deliver a solution that uses the right mix of premise or cloud-based resources for your solution and business type. Thank you for your time.